Well. Thank you all for joining my talk. For a fact, I know many of you heard what the duck. They were thinking it's a joke. Or I'm going to talk about ducks. But for a fact, I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about tech. About something we hide very, very well. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Aicha Laafia. I'm a Java software engineer. I'm Moroccan, currently living in France, and beside my work at Protection Legal Insurance Company, I'm more into advocating for green programming, sustainability, and women in tech. And that's why I'm a Women Tech Makers and Girls Ambassador. And because I believe sharing is caring, I'm also part of many communities, such as the JetBrain Community Contributors and the Moroccan Association for Computing Science. Well, a fun fact about me, I'm a foodie lover and a big Formula One fan. And I write about Java, sustainability, and tech on Medium from time to time. And now, let's be honest, because on the outside, tech look like this. People smiling at meeting, shipping futures on time, posting big wins on social media. When you see on the surface, you think everything is fine, everything is perfect, you are the coolest people on the earth. And for a fact, yes, we are still cool people, but the reality is different. Many of us, for a fact, suffer from anxiety, exhausted all the time. It's like we're paddling just to stay afloat. In all this, doing under health sometimes because of the pressure. So we look calm on the surface, chaos underneath, just like a duck. And that's where the name comes from, the duck syndrome. It's just like a duck that looks calm, glittering on the lake, but for a fact, she's paddling like a crazy just to stay afloat. And that hiding efforts of paddling is what we call the duck syndrome. But before we go to more specific what it is and the signs of it, I want to ask you to grab your phones. And for a fact, this session is not just about me talking, it's about you. This session will be interactive. All I need to do is to ask yourself a question, yes or no polls, and be honest. And for a fact, it's anonymous, so don't be shy and think, well, whatever you feel, just answer yes or no. Because for a fact, this will tell if we really suffer from the duck syndrome or not. So, are you all ready? Did you scan? I want to hear noises. OK. So, let's wait 5 seconds before, let's see, everyone is settling. Also, the code bar will stay in every poll, so we could see. And for a fact, let's start with the first question. Obviously, have you ever heard of the duck syndrome? Yes or no? Even if you heard it in the technical, like, not the technical field, but internship, corporate, and so on. Oh. Yes, and for a fact, I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to connect. As you can see, this is for a fact. It's all about tech. It's not perfect. And so and that's the perfect example. OK, let's wait. Yes. OK. Yes, no. Let's try. OK, yay. So, 50% yes. Oh, right now we see. OK. 93% of people doesn't know the duck syndrome. 94. Well, that's a big number. And for a fact, so am I. I didn't heard of the duck syndrome before. Just by chance, I read an article about it. It was, for a fact, from Stanford University. And that's where the duck syndrome have been discovered first. Because, for a fact, it was for the Stanford students who look perfect, who look cool, but on the campus. But for a fact, they were suffering from like anxiety, cannot keep up with all the workload, and that's where the duck syndrome comes from. It's a psychological pattern in which individuals present an image of composure and success, like they are cool, but for a fact, you are canceling that intense effort, anxiety, and stress required to maintain that success and appearance. To make it simple, it's when we all look calm on the inside, like taking control, outside and so on, we look like the competence, but for a fact, we are struggling in silence. And just like a duck, always remember this metaphor. Looking calm on the outside, while stressing and paddling like a crazy underneath. And unfortunately, it's not just some cute metaphor because statistically it's shown how widespread it is in our tech field. 73% of the developers in the full-time IT workforce, they report to be in burnout, like most of the time. 1 in 3 developers considering quitting due to stress at work, and 67% of employees hide mental health due to the stigma thing. So for a fact, you see how widespread it is, and you might want to ask yourself, do I really suffer from the duck syndrome? Well, for a fact, this is where I'm going to talk about signs, how you could tell if you or one of your colleagues really feel the duck syndrome and doesn't know about it. And right now, ask yourself this question. Do you sometimes tell people that you're fine when you're not? You pretend that everything is okay when you're not feeling okay at all? Yes or no? Okay, so as you can see, yes. Many of you really pretend to be okay, smiling and so on. Oh yes, as you can see, that's the numbers I want to talk about. Many of us really are very well with pretending how fine they are where they're not. And for a fact, that feeling of exhausted all the time, drained all the time, is the first sign of the duck syndrome, the constant exhaustion. Because for a fact, and I'm not talking about staying late one night to fix a prod bug. I'm talking about already waking up tired, dragging yourself out of bed, and thinking, maybe just because I shipped something on, I respect the deadlines, I shipped the big futures, I'm fine, but for a fact you're not because your energy level has never refilled correctly. And for a fact, when you're already tired, this is where you start to paddle really hard and start to feel anxious because you cannot do the work as you want to do. And this is the second sign of constant stress and anxiety, the stress that never turned off. Even when you turn your laptop thinking, oh, it's fine, I'm done, I'm going to focus on my personal life, but hell no, because for a fact, your brain keep replaying all this. Jira tickets keep replying, CI/CD pipelines keep replying, box production, like logs too. You are brushing your teeth thinking about this, eating dinner thinking about this, sometimes even sleeping and thinking about coding something. And for a fact, it's not just a stress work, it's a constant background noise that never shut down. And this is where I really wish we have a garbage collector for our brain. And maybe all this happens sometimes because we just avoid help, avoid asking for help, asking for support. Instead of just spending 2 minutes asking colleagues next to you, you ended up burning 4 hours Googling or checking. Or sometimes either spending 1 minute reading documentaries. Yeah, it happened to us. But for a fact, avoiding help, maybe because you're shy, or maybe you think they will make fun of me, or they think my question is stupid, you ended up really burning and not asking for help. And the irony, everyone else does the same thing. Maybe because you want to look perfect, and that's the fourth sign, perfection. I know sometimes you ended up rewriting a method 3 times, you suck on the PR instead of merging it itself for 7 days, only polishing it, checking if you find something you forgot to do. But for a fact, when it's already done, On the outside, it might look like dedication, yay! But in reality, it's just the fear of not being flawless. So for a fact, perfection doesn't make us better, it only drains us like energy and time. And now, you have known the signs. Many of you might be thinking, yes, I'm stuck at the tech syndrome. I do experience this a lot. You might want to ask yourself why this happened to me. Why am I stuck in the tech syndrome? Well, ask yourself, do you feel pressure to always look competent at work? Yes, no? Do you always feel to be the fixer, the problem solver? Yes, okay. So I see, oh, for the people who say no, they never feel pressure, well, you have a really good workplace, a healthy one, perfect. Oh, there is a tithe here. Even for the people who say yes, okay, it's a tithe. So let's say almost half of the room. For the people who say no, that you never ever felt pressure to look perfect, to make things work done? Yes. Okay, so they say it not always. That's nice for a fact. You're not always feeling like pressure, because for a fact, first thing or the first cause of the back syndrome is the high expectation. We'll always be the fixer, the problem solver, the one with the answer, especially from the business team. They always expect us to know everything about tech. And our tech industry moves so fast. And right now we're talking about AI, it's even worse. Like we're talking about light speed movement. And it stopped being just like learning new things. It feels like a marathon running without an end or without a finish line. And for a fact, when you stop keeping up with everything in tech, you might hit with that moment or you start to experience the imposter syndrome. Like, even after years in the field, you start, after contributing to many amazing projects, building big futures, you had that moment when you tell yourself, oh, maybe I was just lucky. Maybe I don't belong really here. This is not my field. And for a fact, you're not alone because according to Blind's 2020 tech survey, it showed that 58% of developers do experience like imposter syndrome. And the tech syndrome feeds on that because instead of just admitting the doubt, we double down the mask in all that because we always had that pressure to look perfect. Because if we just look outside the tech, let's take LinkedIn for the best example. You see people sharing big news, big announcements, talking about, like, for example, big conferences. Right now with AI, everyone's shipping AI agent and so on. You think everyone is cool, everyone is perfect. But for a fact, no. Because no one ever in LinkedIn tell, well, I cried today because I brought the production and I don't know how to fix it. Or saying, I have been like stuck 3 days in a test that never turned green. Or even, I don't know how to fix a pipeline. CD pipeline, I worked a long time ago, I forgot how to do that. No one tell about its own struggle, only sharing big news. And for a fact, if you think only Instagram has filter, believe me, so does LinkedIn. So don't trust anything you read. And what I'm going to talk right now, not many of you will like it, but for a fact, yes. I know remote works, we all like that. It gives us flexibility, freedom, pajamas working, and so on, homemade, and even unlimited naps, I know. But also it created isolation. And for a fact, when you are working alone, hitting a problem, even the smallest one, it starts to feel bigger and you start to feel anxious about it. Because before, when we were at the office, we always having those micro moments, those chit-chatting during the coffee breaks where you just say to your colleagues, oh, I've been stuck on this problem. I don't know how to fix that. And he simply say, oh, that's easy. You could just switch this or use this code or method or library, and the work is done. But you are alone by yourself. All you have is your screen, your bugs, your logs screaming all red, and the panic that you have. So the more alone you are in the time you spend struggling alone, the more it's hard to be. And for a fact, why is all that? Because this is the last cause, which is the mental health stigma, the biggest one. If you go back to the statistic that I said, about 73% of developers experience burnout, but for a fact, not many of them could talk about it. Why? Because they will hit by this. Oh, you're just faking it. Oh, maybe you can go exercise. Oh, maybe you need to wake up early. But no one for a fact addressed that, yes, that's a problem, that's a real issue, that needs support, instead of just bashing it and ignoring it like nothing has happened, or he just want to grab attention. And for a fact, when you cannot even say it, the paddling will get only louder. And now, of course, I will not let you stuck in the duck syndrome. I will give you a solution because good news, we do have them. And I will give you the personal and professional aspect solution. But first, you might want to ask yourself, will you feel safer if your team talks openly about struggle? Your teammates, your boss admitting, yes, I'm struggling, yes, I'm not fine. Will you feel safer? Okay, so yes. Let's see. And I'm not saying about complaining, I'm saying just admitting that something is wrong and it's okay to feel it, to feel that you are struggling. Okay, so we do have a majority here, and that's a good thing. For a fact, this solution, it combines personal one and professional one. I'll not try to burn this out for you, so let's head directly, and I see yes. Okay, so we have 86% of people will feel safer if they talk about it. And right now, let's head into the personal aspects. Of course, if you want to change something, we need to start from us first. First thing first, be real. Talk about it. Forget hiding things, forget pretending you're not fine and smiling all the time. It's okay to say, I don't know how to do this. And for a fact, the quickest way to earn respect is to admit that you are a human. Because guess what? Everyone else faking it too. And for a fact, also celebrate small wins. I know in social media, in LinkedIn, we always see people celebrating big wins, big announcements. But in reality, the happiness, the true happiness in tech comes from those small wins. For example, you're working and finally that flaky test turned green. You're happy. Yay! Celebrate that. You've been stuck in a PR that spent almost 2 weeks and finally you emerge it. You feel even happier. Yay! Celebrate that. You're even sometimes there is a bug in production and you find it was just a typo or one line of code, you change it, it's simple, but you felt happy. Yay! Celebrate that. All those small wins, all those progress, all those small victories are victories. At the end of your day, celebrate those victories. Whatever it's with the beer, with the champagne, or you're not into alcohol, with a slice of cake or a salad, whatever you want, but celebrate those wins. And also, don't be shy, please. Ask for support, ask for help. For a fact, asking for help will not only gain you time and energy, but you will also build the trust in your teammate. Because today, I asked a colleague about something I was stuck with. The next time he will struggle with something or stuck at a problem, he will feel safe to ask me about something too. And this is how we can really build a healthy workplace. And this is the team building we're talking about. And also, recharge, please. Rest, sleep, go out, eat something, take a day off, but without guilt. Your IDU will stay there. Your CI/CD pipeline will stay there. Your Java beans will stay there. But your energy level will never refill. And for a fact, you need to recharge yourself. At least you will have the energy to deal with that when you come back, instead of just being exhausted and dragging yourself on that limit circle. And finally, let go of perfect. When things are done, it's done. And I'm not talking about having the spaghetti code. No. Yes, of course. When I say done, it's simple, it's created in the terms and the norms we have to have a clean code. I'm talking about when it's done, everything is green, everything is perfect, merge that PR, ship that future. Because for a fact, perfect doesn't ship in reality. And right now, we have seen how you could help yourself. But if you are a manager, a CEO, are responsible of a group of people, this one is for you, whatever it's professional, companies, or even community level. First thing first, create safe spaces, because open conversations matters. And for a fact, if your culture punished honestly, people will just suffer in silence, and at the end, they will quit, and you don't know why. Now you know. And also, safe spaces are not just about coffee beans or pizza Friday. It's about the safety to be real. And also, it's about offering real support. And no, posters in the kitchen are not the real support. I'm talking about giving access to mental health resources, having policies that back up people, not just some slogan, otherwise it's what we call the corporate theater, or just some words on paper that never help anyone. And also, please respect boundaries. Boundaries are free, but not many companies like to pay that price. And for a fact, we don't want anymore the 11 p.m. Slack or Teams pings, Teams calls. No, we don't want to guilt trip people when they take day off. They really need that. Please respect this. And for a fact, this is how you will keep your people for a long term. And another tip to keeping them for a long term is show appreciation, because recognition is ridiculously underrated. A sincere thank you could really, from a colleague, a teammate, can change your day. Why? Because for a fact, we remember prizes more than deadlines. And, of course, lead with vulnerability. Take the first example. Be the one who speak about it when you are struggling. Because for a fact, if my boss come to me and say, I know we are in a tough time, for me, at least, I will not stress, because it's a stressful situation. And that's what happened to most of us. We always stress because it's a hard situation instead of just focusing how to solve it. So we stress about stressful situation, it gets even more stressful, that leads us to stress. It's an infinity book, like circle that never crushed. So take the lead, admit that you are human too, and let your team members trust in you. And now I've been giving you all the solutions that you can help yourself to get rid of the tax syndrome. And now, the reality check. In fact, bring your phones, because this time it's only question to see if you could really relate to the tax syndrome or not. First thing first, have you ever hidden burnout or stress behind a smile? At a meeting or even outside, you're smiling, working, but your brain was screaming, oh no, oh my God, I cannot do this, I'm stressed. Okay, so many of us have a great smile all the time doing that, I see. In fact, yes, that's one of the things that shown the DAX syndrome, that we are hiding the stress and the efforts we do. We need to show it from time to time that, yes, I'm stressful. Also, let's go to second question. Have you ever noticed a colleague suddenly quitting and only later realizing they were struggling because maybe they were hiding it with a smile? Yes or no? And for a fact, you could even be that colleague that quite due stress and no one know about it. Because for a fact, it happened to many of us when our favorite colleagues suddenly quit and you ask yourself why, what went wrong, until you ask him and he said, oh, I was struggling, I was not happy, I was not fine. Yes, it's happened a lot. So as you can see, and for a fact, this is why I'm saying ask for help, because it's giving even the other colleagues to talk about their struggle too, after finishing helping you. Third question to ask yourself, have you ever felt you had to learn new tool or skill faster than you were comfortable with just to keep up? Well. Oh, yes. Especially right now with the AI thing and everyone telling us to do machine learning, formation, campus, and so on, certification. AI thing, yes, it's been even more harder. And for a fact, 80% feel that. Because, as I said, it stopped just about learning things because we like them, because we're very passionate about. It's becoming even more pressure to do so, especially when the business come with new ideas and we have to implement it in some unrealistic time. We have to learn new things. So, if any business here, please give like a reasonable timeline and let people learn in their own paces too. And would you ever trust your manager more if they openly admit their own struggle? If your manager or if your lead say, I've been there, I've struggled, I don't know what to do, would you trust them? And for a fact, I put this question just if a manager saw this, so he could tell that people will trust him more. Because I know they trust numbers more than opinions. So for a fact, yes, if you're a manager and you're watching it, please feel free to share when you're struggling to let your teammate feel like safe with you to talk about something if they were bothering them. And the final question, do you believe we can change how we handle this together? Like all together, we get the support, supporting each other, talking about it, not leaving this alone. Okay. There's 71%, 16. That's a good number. And for a fact, yes. When we're all alone dealing with things, it's always feel harder. But if you have someone beside you to support you, it will feel less. And we can make it even easier to change many things when we are together. And now let's bring it all together. All you need to remember, the duck syndrome, it does exist in tech. We look calm outside, yet burnout and chaos inside, because we wear masks, we smile at meeting, at work, and that leads us to missing signs about the duck syndrome that we could not tell if we suffer it or one of our colleagues. But we pay the price with our mental and physical health because we never refill our energy correctly. But we can change if we want, of course. And for a fact, this will not you will keep paddling, but we are all together and we are admitting and we are supporting and we are proud of the paddling that you do. And that changed a lot of things. But remember that you are a human. And for a fact, right now with AI, we discovered that even machines do mistakes a lot. We cannot rely on a machine how you could punish people for their weakness. And this is why admitting the struggle isn't a weakness, it's how we say human, and we need to admit that you are a human and we are proud of you, whatever you could fix things or not. Go for it. And thank you for enjoying my talk, and I hope you had more awareness about the DAX syndrome. I know many of you have been knowing the imposter syndrome, but right now you know another syndrome. You need to pay attention to it in your entourage, in your friend circle, and so on, in yourself too. And if you enjoy my talk, you could rate it on the Devox application. Otherwise, if you have any question, I'm more happy to hear from you. Okay. Okay. So for a fact, if you want to start, open up in your like workload in your work, first thing first, choose the colleague or just start with one person. Open up to them and see their reaction. And it's all about communication because there's difference between opening up and admitting that you are struggling with the task. Even if you're just finding it hard to do something, you go to your senior, your superior, and tell them, I do find this hard. Could you please provide me with help? And for a fact, when you admit that to one person, you see their reaction, and this is how you feel trust in yourself. To making it because the first step is what's even harder. And for me, what was shocking in a good way, the first time I did it, my manager told me, you know, for a fact, I respecting you for doing that because right now I could know like the progress of your work and I could help you to speed up the things instead of just letting you stuck on it. And for a fact, managers do prefer people when they talk about when they are stuck at things or when they are finding it hard, instead of just spending much time going on a loop or draining yourself. And also try to have, for me, it was the coffee chit chat. Yes, because we were talking, instead, and you randomly could say, I'm not feeling okay, people will listen. Because for a fact, they were just waiting for someone to admit they were struggling so they could talk about it too. Also, another tip, if, for example, if you could feel shy to talk about something hard in the work, you could just find someone like you know to, for example, to give the message to the person you want to speak with. Because I know sometimes the corporate is the hierarchy and so on. You cannot directly call someone to talk about the issue. So find someone you trust to give the message. And as I said, normally when you admit the struggle, for a fact, you are having more time to focus on the solution instead of just stressing about it. And also, you're a human. We need to really take days off. You need to take a break. Even the deadlines will stay there. They will like, oh, you need to do something like that. But sometimes you cannot respect the deadlines because you're already drained off. You cannot work. And you need to tell your boss about it so they could put like reasonable deadlines. So it's a win-win situation if you know just how to communicate that. Thank you. Do you have another question? Sure.
I think not every workplace is fixable, and there are toxic environments. And I think that it's important that being honest with oneself opens up to figure out whether it is toxic or not. And so there is a place where this doesn't lead to win-win in the sense that you stay there and it's better, but it's at least you know that you have to get out of it to find something else. And I think it's important not to struggle with burden of staying in one place that is toxic and open to move to some other place in case it doesn't work. And I mean, it's great what you proposed, but it's just to say that it's a comment. I think it's important to be able to step out if it's not okay.
Okay, so the question is about the toxic workout. And for a fact, this is why I started with the personal solution. If you cannot like change your workload, your workspace because it was toxic and it's punished, honestly, I said that because yes, many companies do that. Just try to admit the struggle yourself instead of ignoring it or by yourself. You said, I'm fine when you're not. Just try to admit it yourself. And for a fact, yes, if you are struggling at a toxic environment, don't stay there. Try to change just a bit, see the vibes. Otherwise, always the priority is your mental and physical health, because that's what keeps us alive, and that's how we work. Yes. So just try to be like gentle with yourself. That's the purpose of my talk. If your environment is healthy, that's a good thing. Talk about it. If it's toxic, try to find a good way to communicate your struggles diplomatically, because I know we are the corporate, we have our own language to do so. Find the solution for yourself. Otherwise, try to look for the environment that will encourage you, that you will feel safer to talk. Another question? Yes.
Do you see similar things in other professions, or is IT really unique in some sort of regard to, for example, the dark syndrome?
Okay, so have the DAX syndrome been in other okay, in other field? For facts, yes. The first time I discovered it, it was in entrepreneurship, like corporate world. And first, it was not discovered in the IT field, but the academia field in the Stanford University, because students were faking they were fine when they were struggling with their workload. So yes, and for a fact, not many people know that this syndrome do happen in the tech field, and that's why I'm doing this talk. It happen like in the corporate world, in the academic world, in any field, because we have this habit to smile all the time and pretend we are fine and perfect. Thank you. Another question? So I guess thank you all for joining my talk, and all I can say, the last word, be proud of yourself. Whatever you are, strong, perfect or not, you are a human, you are amazing. You are in the tech field, we are the coolest people in the world, we are the present and the future. Everything run on Aicha right now, so be proud. Thank you. Also, one thing, I have a goodies from JetBrain because I'm part of JetBrain community contributors. If you want a tote bag, a block note, or stickers, feel free to come if you want.